Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to our Operations Committee meeting here on April 27th, starting just a little bit late. Thank you for your patience. Wi-Fi issues. Can I ask the committee secretary to please call the roll?
Yes, Chair Corbett. Director Wieskamp.
Here.
Director Eccles.
Present.
Director Corbett.
Here.
AGM O'Connor.
Here.
And we have several staff presenters as well as guests today, which include Tiffany Margolisi, Daniel Stoneham, Renee Patterson, Ann Castlebaum, Sonia Gomez, Josh Carlson, Robert Kennedy, and let's see. And I believe that's it for now.
Okay. And thank you very much. We are coming to you pursuant to the governor's executive order to allow us to conduct meetings virtually. And if I could please ask the recording secretary to just mention how the public is able to participate virtually as well.
Yes, so we have 3 ways to participate in the meeting. If you wish to view the meeting only, you may join the meeting via YouTube, which this link is kept on our agenda, which is located on our district website. And then as far as public comments, you can send an email to me at boardopscommittee@ebparks.org. You can leave me a voicemail at 510-544-2500, or if you wish to make a live comment, you may join the Zoom link, which is also included on the agenda on our website, and we will communicate with you via the chat room.
Thank you very much for that. And then we can go ahead and just jump right into it. Item 2 is a review of the Ardenwood agricultural lease and the Ardenwood historic farm.
All right, thank you, Chair Corbett. Just a couple of words before I pass it off to our Business Services Manager, Tiffany Margolisi. I think all of you know that our concession farmer operation at Ardenwood is a critical component of our operation there at the park in terms of both our interpretive programming, supporting our interpretive programming, and providing active farming as part of the setting for Ardenwood's historic farming interpretive theme. This RFP has been a challenging one. We've gone out twice, as Tiffany will talk about, but I'm glad to report that I think we have a successful RFP, and hopefully we'll have a concession farmer in operation at the park fairly soon. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Tiffany.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Tiffany Margolisi, Business Services Manager for the Park District, and very excited to present this item. I'll be sharing my screen. And one moment as I put it into presentation. Can everybody see that, or do you see the notes?
It's fine.
We see it.
Wonderful. So I will, as Jim led in, this is a presentation about the agricultural land lease RFP. And we will be going over an overview of the location and background, what we've done through the RFP process, and then introduce to you Dig Deep Farms, which is our recommendation from staff. And we'll be talking about their mission, their finances and partners, the recommended term. And then we do have comments from staff as well as from Dig Deep Farms.
Tiffany,
following my comments.
Tiffany, can you switch displays? You've got the notes page.
Thank you. How's that?
Better.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. There it is. Okay. So I do go into, I do, as Jim said, as REGM said, this is a really integral part of the operations of Ardenwood Farm. So I am going to spend some time just to talk about how this fits into our operations. There has been a farming operation here, which included packing of farm products and produce sales. There's a corporation yard for the farmer with a hothouse. There's a produce stand. We have provided some farming equipment for potential shared use. And also the lessee has typically done the highly popular annual pumpkin and harvest sale. These are certified organic acres, and our recommendation will continue to have them be certified organic. Typical crops in the past have been grain, hay, lettuce, cauliflower, pumpkins, and broccoli. So this map, I'll come back to this concept a few times. This shows the entire 205-acre park at Ardenwood, and the farming works on a rotation system. So there's total 92 acres of farm agricultural land within the park. The lessee area is a minimum of 53.13 acres, and then there's 37.72 acres that are in rotation. And so that is part of the partnership of this operation, the partnership between the interpretive farming crops and the lessee farmer. So looking back over the history of this lease, typically the lessee farmers farming between 53 and 70 acres. So sometimes there'll be a range of acres, and that this map shows why. It's because there's a rotation system. In terms of background for Ardenwood, the conservation of agricultural open space is very much part of the planning vision and land use plan for Ardenwood. The 2005 land use plan designates the agricultural fields as special management features, stating that they must be preserved in active agricultural production. So that's a very important part of this story, is that we have a commitment through our land use plan to keep these fields in active agricultural production. As I mentioned in the map slide, it's a 205-acre park. They receive over 120,000 annual visitors, and the staffing levels for the interpretive and recreation staff are based on having a farmer lessee on site that provides the mechanical labor that supports the interpretive crops, as well as has their own operation. If you look at the total number of staff, it's 15 staff at Ardenwood, and those staff are dedicated to doing the interpretive programs, school trips, all the visitors and the special events that we know very well. This is not a staffing level that could support the entire farming, the entire acreage. The J.E. Perry Farms have farmed here at Ardenwood since the mid-1980s in this role of the lessee farmer or farmer concessionaire, as AGM O'Connor said. They had been in midterm in their agreement that had started October 2010. However, in January 2020, Doug Perry, who was running the farm, gave his retirement notice. So in May 2020, we released an RFP for this lease. And at that time, the proposals we received were not responsive, meaning they didn't meet the needs that we were looking for from the Park District point of view. Then in January 2021, we went through a second RFP process, which is what I'm to present today. Here's our overall timeline. Again, I don't go through every date with this, but just to show that really we go through a multi-step process, have the process be very transparent, give as much information as we can to all bidders in a very fair way. We started back in January with the announcement, and we're getting towards the end here, second to last, at the Board Operations Committee review today. Just to talk a little bit more about the outreach we did for this RFP, we did direct mailing. We put it on our website as we typically do. We spread the word through the City of Fremont, the Fremont Chamber of Commerce. We also had quite a few interested parties from the prior RFP, which included UC Cooperative Extension, the Sunol Ag Park, Bear Flag Robotics, Dig Deep Farms. So we had a really wide outreach on this. As you can see from our chart here, the first round, we had about 30 plus people attend the site visit, only 2 proposals, both of which were non-responsive. And the second RFP, about 17 attendees from 5 entities, only 3 proposals though, 2 of which were non-responsive. We did do a formal interview with the one responsive proposal we received. That was with East Bay Parks and Santa Clara County Parks as an outside panelist. So we're excited to present our recommendation of the proposal we received. We think it's a strong proposal with a lot of exciting new elements to bring to this operation. Dig Deep Farms is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. They are part of the Alameda County Deputy Sheriff's Activity League, and they currently farm 17 acres at 5 local farm sites. And I have a variety of pictures coming up of their farms that are currently in operation. So Dig Deep Farms does have 11 years of farming experience. As you can see, it is at a much smaller scale, a less number of acres than is about to be undertaken if the committee approves this recommendation. However, they do have that experience, and they have 4 years experience with the organic farming and the documentation process. They're about to get their first organic certification. It's a multi-year process to do that, and they've been using those practices for the past 4 years. They also incorporated the feedback from our first RFP so that we feel this proposal now meets what the district is looking for. The team from Dig Deep Farms is Hillary Bass, a senior program specialist from Alameda County Sheriff's Office. She'll be sharing a few words with us after my presentation, as well as Troy Horton and Sasha Shankar, the co-farm directors from Dig Deep Farms. With that leadership team, they also complement their workforce with paid farm labor. That's an important part of the operation. And then furthermore, build their labor and also their community involvement by having internships. And the internships are cohorts that are with various themed groups. A cohort might be reentry, people reentering the community from the prison system, or it could be a cohort of women, a cohort of youth, and they go through an internship together to learn more about farming and build their job skills. We discussed quite a bit with Dig Deep Farms regarding the reentry program, and there is a really robust screening process for that program, which staff has reviewed and feels is compatible with the public park setting of Ardenwood. I mentioned that they Dig Deep Farms incorporated some feedback from the first RFP, and this is notably the creation of this advisory board with Ben Ratto, operations manager from Bay Cities Produce, as well as David Mudge from David Mudge Gardens. And certainly staff, including myself, we visited the Dig Deep Farms sites. They are beautiful, beautiful farms. And as I said, it's a much different scale and style of farming than we will see here at Ardenwood. And so to really bring the skills and round out the team, the advisory board is bringing people to the team that have the background in that large scale farming operation with that experience with row crops, and also bringing the extensive connections to the regional farming network. So we see this as a really important part of the success in setting this new potential lease up for success. Another thing that is a strength from Dig Deep Farms and a multiple benefit is the interdisciplinary partnerships. They're part of an initiative called All In, Alameda County. Hillary Bass will speak more about that. They are connected with healthcare system partnerships. They're part of a philosophy or initiative for the circular food economy to keep the benefits of having good, healthy food and the economic benefits of that too local. Food is medicine. They also have public safety partnerships, and as well as political support, which I'm sure we'll be hearing about later in public comments. The Dig Deep Farm finances, it's a very diversified funding source. And I think that's a benefit. One of the challenges we learned through the conversations with farmers in the Bay Area is that it's a challenging economic climate for farmers in the Bay Area. And so this diversified funding source is a positive. They have funding sourced from their produce sales, from their food distributors, the healthcare partnerships that they have, as well as public safety programs. They also have ongoing and increasing funding from Alameda County. In addition to that, they bring with them a robust administrative body, being part of this nonprofit that's very used to working with public agencies and grant funding. So they have a strong background in reporting, audit, and financial management. In addition to the ongoing funding that I just discussed, Dig Deep Farms is ready to invest $1.2 million in the startup costs of this operation, which will include having to put a new office on the site, new modular building, as well as equipment and other startup costs. They have these funds designated for this project. The farmyard, is, as shown here, really needs improvement. It's been a long time farming operation, and as we sometimes see when we have a turnover, things need to be refreshed and brought up to compliance. The Park District is in the process of completing all electrical code compliance. The Perry Farms did a tremendous job cleaning up the site. So if you go there today, it's kind of a blank canvas, a big open space that Dig Deep Farms will need to furnish and get set up for their operation. The proposed rent is $150 an acre per year. This is the current standard for agricultural leases. This is the same as the Perry Farms paid. The farmer pays for all the utility service as well. So their direct electrical costs for use of the well or PG&E service. What's unique about this lease that we've had in place is that there's a structure to have a significant offset to the rent through in-kind work. And that's work done, the mechanical labor work that I mentioned earlier, that would be done on the interpretive crop, managing the compost program, as well as the costs of the organic certification, because those are elements that really benefit the Park District's interpretive farming operation. So we have a structure where they have a base rent, they have in-kind work that we track and approve, and then that offsets the rent. In addition, the Park District provides trash service and the sanitation services. And this is a picture taken by Hillary Bass of some of the produce at Dig Deep Farms location. This is a sizable investment for Dig Deep Farms, especially considering the startup costs. So we are recommending a 5-year initial term plus 2 5-year extensions, so up to 15 years possible. That's what we had offered in the RFP. And then the rent per acre would be evaluated at the onset of each term. So if there is a need or change in agricultural rent standards, we would evaluate that at the onset of each term. So the recommendation is that the Board Operations Committee approve and recommend to the full board the selection of Dig Deep Farms as Ardenwood Agricultural Land Lease lessee for an initial term of 5 years with 2 possible 5-year extensions at the Park District's discretion for a rent of $150 an acre per year in the initial term, and then to be evaluated at the onset of each extension term. So with that, I'll stop my screen share for a moment and possibly see if there's any, I think what I'll do is I'll hand it off, if it's okay, Chair Corbett, I'll hand it off to Hillary Bass, and then Sasha Shankar will make some comments, and then we'll be available for questions. So over to you, Hillary.
Absolutely. Thank you and welcome to our guests.
Thanks
and
for having
future
us.
partners, hopefully.
Thanks for saying that. We're really honored to be considered right now for this operation. I'm Hillary Bass. I work for the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, and we have been investing ourselves in the Sheriff's Office over the last 17 years in really community building efforts as sort of our way to address the need for police reform. And we have found ourselves investing in a range of areas of the community that create opportunities for livability, health, and well-being, because those are sort of the basic foundations for being able to be safe. And one of those important pieces of investments of ourselves and our resources have been in trying to create local economic opportunities for our Alameda County community. And when we started Dig Deep Farms, my boss and I, Captain Nidifer, who is on the call as well, we started it last week. It was in fact 11 years. And we had read a book by Van Jones, The Green Collar Economy, which inspired us to see what we could do to create economic opportunities in a sector that was beneficial to the earth, that specifically trained up and employed people into that sector who had experienced barriers to employment. So initially, the intent was to have only people employed who have had past experience in the justice system in some capacity. But what we learned is that, and don't laugh at me when I say this, but I am not the farmer in the group, but we didn't realize how scientific farming actually is, and that it requires a lot of know-how that I can say neither of us actually had. But thankfully we met Troy and Sasha, and they did have that background and that experience and scientific knowledge, and truly created an operation that practiced the methodologies needed to, in fact, ensure earth care, well, the principles of permaculture as I've learned them, earth care, people care, and fair share, which very much is in line with what we believe in is needed for public safety to be addressed in the long term. We have to take care of our community, we have to take care of the earth and the environment, and we have to create equity in a way that's going to allow people to thrive. So they have transformed the Dig Deep operation into a truly regenerative operation that is creating the most nutrient dense food in the land, as far as I could tell. And they have a professional staff, but they've developed internship opportunities, as Tiffany mentioned, that allows for a range of people to come through and learn about this methodology. We partner closely with the Alameda County Office of Education, who I would say is very excited to have a chance to expand upon the internships that we have with their high school students in your area in Fremont. They have a lot of high schools that they are interested in getting more in touch with in that area, and Ardenwood would provide an excellent outlet for many more young people to experience the education associated with this methodology of farming and the way in which that connects into the rest of the food economy that we are deeply in partnership with Supervisor Chan's office in All-In. It's important that this methodology of agriculture is practiced, the regenerative agriculture method, because the dominant distribution model for the produce is as medicine. So with All-In, and Dr. Chen is also on this call, he's the medical director for All-In. There's a scale up of this model in clinics throughout Alameda County where providers are being trained to screen their patients for diet-related conditions like diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And instead of prescribing the purple pill, they're actually prescribing the Dig Deep Farms medicine. And we're finding that there is in fact significant, there are in fact significant health impacts as a result of this really healthcare reform initiative. So as we scale up to more clinics, I think we're at 4 now, and there's another 5 on the task list, including one in your area, Bay Area Health Clinic, CH. I'm mixing it up. But the demand for produce as medicine is more than we can meet right now, and we need to grow more of it. Right now, we have about 600 patients per week that are getting bags of food from Dig Deep Farms, and that is only going to increase exponentially throughout this year. So we need to grow more. And similarly, with the circular food economy, we've been working on supporting institutions in their transformation of their procurement practices so that they practice good food purchasing and turn their procurement dollars inward to our local food economy in a way that supports this, our local producers, our farmers, and our other types of food producers like meal vendors. So one example of that is Bay Cities Produce, who Ben Ratto is an employee at and is our new advisory board member. He has a legacy in his family of farming in a major way, but also at Bay Cities, they are deeply committed to serving their customers the most locally grown produce around. And that's getting harder and harder to do as farming gets farther and farther away. So they were extremely excited to hear that it was a possibility for them to become a buyer of produce grown by Dig Deep Farms in this regenerative agriculture method at this particular location, which is, as they called it, the last vestige of urban ag in the area. I think there was one more thing I wanted to say, which is that as Tiffany mentioned, we have partnerships that span the county because the circular food economy has become critical to so many of our different agendas across the county, from the probation department, the economic development department, healthcare department, and all of the county supervisors who are looking at sort of a post-COVID world where we need to do economic recovery. And we have developed a model that brings in the production into this full circle where we also have the infrastructure at a food hub for the aggregation, the processing, for getting ready for distribution, the vans, the drivers, and also the partners where the food is going through the Food is Medicine in the clinics, as well as those who are vulnerable throughout the county, who are seniors, or even those who are COVID positive. And all of this together is supporting environmental impacts, public safety impacts, and healthcare impacts, and economic development impacts. So we're really excited to have the chance to partner with you to help us achieve this goal of scaling the model throughout the county. And I'll turn it over to Sasha and Troy for a little bit more detail about Dig Deep.
Thank you. Welcome, Sasha.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us. So a little bit about Dig Deep. You learned pretty much most of what we do. Our practices, we basically don't use any GMO seeds. We're also practicing regenerative agriculture. So we're making sure that we do a lot of poly planting. We don't like to apply a lot of pesticides and or sprays. This allows for nutrient dense food. And so I don't know if Troy wants to add anything.
Yeah, we're really excited about the opportunity to come out and farm at Ardenwood. If we do officially get selected, we are staffing up with farmers. We have 2 good managers that are about to come on with a partner that also wants to help train up more farmers. I don't know if anybody know of Farmscape. Was an area of Fremont, pretty close to Ardenwood, where they do a 2-acre farm at a housing, housing, I forget the name of the housing, but we acquired one of their old managers who has experience with not as large as Ardenwood, but up to 5 acres. He was the manager at Cabrillo College, where he learned a lot of his farming skills at, has some tractor experience. And then we have another manager that is about to come on that we acquired from doing some farming over at Berkeley where they still have agricultural programs going on. So we're excited about these acquisitions of more skilled help, and we're just continuing to staff up with more farmers and farming programs. And on our last visit with the East Bay Parks team, we met Anthony, a grandson of the Perrys and a nephew of the Perrys, and he's been a wealth of also knowledge, and that he's going to still be over there. It's really given us more confidence and insight on how we will get the site back in organic operation and get healthy foods, continue to get healthy foods and the ability to grow and expand and getting healthy foods to the communities, into our food as medicine program.
And sir, I didn't catch your name when you first began to speak. So do you mind stating it again?
Yes, I'm Troy Horton, co-farm director at DDF Farms.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Tiffany, do you have anything else you'd like to add, or?
No, I think I'll turn it back over to you. We do have public comments, or we could do question and answer. I'm not sure what the next order of business is.
Committee members, would you like to hear public comments first?
Your choice.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's hear our public comments, and then we'll ask questions at the end. Thank you.
We have a number of guests at this meeting. Perhaps someone could raise their hand so we know to call on you to speak.
Captain Nidifer, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank
I
you.
have your rank correct.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, well, so first, thanks to you and the board for allowing me to speak today. Appreciate that. My name is Marty Nidifer. I'm a captain with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. We started the Deputy Sheriff's Activities League back in 2004, and we did so. There's much discussion these days around the topic of reimagining policing. We actually started that process long ago. DSAL, the intent of DSAL is to create community programming, do community building, create relationships in the community that are designed to help us solve problems and get ahead of crime issues and public safety issues. As Hillary mentioned, we started an urban agriculture program in 2010, DDF Farms. And as I told my supervisors, I was a sergeant at the time, so I told my lieutenant and my captain that the next great wave in community policing was urban agriculture. They looked at me as if I was out of my mind. But we started that program and stuck with it through all sorts of different permeations. And it's grown to a point now where, as Hillary mentioned and Troy and Sasha mentioned, we are growing produce that's going out to thousands of people every week and facilitating meals for many other thousands of people every week. So it's been a success, and it has, along with most of the other community building projects we've embarked on, it relies on partnerships. And All In has been a great partnership, as Supervisor Chan, Supervisor Miley have been, and we really look forward to the opportunity of partnering with East Bay Regional Park in this new farming model, new policing model, new public safety model. So thanks for your time, and appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We have Dr. Stephen Chen also here to speak.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Great. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you all. My name is Stephen Chen. I'm the Chief Medical Officer for All In Alameda County. I'm a family doc by training, and am working with the teams to scale and spread this food as medicine model. And I just want to highlight a few things about the work that we're doing. One, I think COVID has shown us that we have to function and do things differently. We can't function in our existing silos. And this work that we're doing breaks the silos open. It's going to bring health, which has been very siloed, with food systems, and there's that crosswalk happening. And then actually the question of where does the food come from? And that's the land. So health, food, and land, and framing that within an equity perspective, an environmental perspective, an economic perspective. So you have the 3 E's plus health holding that, and then certainly a community and public safety lens. That is the larger framing in which this work lives. And there's so many facets to it. It's very multifactorial and multisectoral, with community gaining in many ways. I want to speak specifically from the health side. Medicine, we know, cannot only rely on traditional pharmaceutical medicines, and that we actually have to reimagine, if you will, how we do medicine. And one way of doing that is actually to utilize something that has been with us from the beginnings of time, but that we've been very little, we have not utilized well or have been trained well in, and that is using food as medicine. Many people think of food as medicine as really just prevention. Keep people healthy and then they won't come to the doctor. I, as a doctor who treat patients who are midstream and as well as end stage, utilize food as medicine along the continuum of treatment. So we actually use food as medicine to treat and to prevent, but we also say like to reverse chronic disease. If I'm going to be prescribing food as medicine, I need to trust that the food doesn't have pesticides, that it has high nutrient quality, that it's produced in a way that is not going to harm my patients. It's hard to do that for our patients to say just go buy organic because of the cost. So we are trying to make this accessible, this type of medicine, medicinal food for chronic conditions, as well as to treat food insecurity, a social determinant of health. And sourcing of the food is critical to this. And it also is pushing policymakers to think beyond just dealing with hunger and food insecurity to nutrition insecurity and all of these elements that are all tied in together. So I just want to express that this is really an exciting opportunity because I don't think many sectors have come together in this way. And I do think that COVID has shown us a different way that we must be different to really meet the challenges in front of us. I spoke specifically about health today, but I think you'll hear from others on the public safety lens, from Hillary and Marty. But certainly the environmental piece is a big piece of it. And regenerative agriculture as a way to restore the health of the soil, which is not only good for the soil, but actually good for the human microbiome and the food that we eat, is important for carbon capture in the environment. So there's so many facets, and that's what's so exciting. And so really, there's a possibility here. We're at an inflection point. And I just want to punctuate that and to thank you all for giving me an opportunity to speak to this and to ask for your support of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Your comments work beautifully with a lot of the work and priorities here at the Park District as well. So thank you for that. And I don't see any more hands raised, but I think there are more people who'd like to speak. Do you see any more hands raised, Ruby?
No hands raised, but we have Mr. Dave Brown of the Board of Supervisors, District 3. Mr. Brown, would you like to speak?
I would.
Welcome,
I'm sorry.
Dave.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
welcome.
I'm sorry about my screen. For some reason, it's not working. I'm trying to reveal myself, but so I mean, you've heard from the eloquent speakers, and I'm certainly not going to try to compete with that. But the circular food economy essentially is we're growing the food, we're cooking the food, we're delivering the food, and we're recovering food, and that's edible food that would otherwise go to waste. And we're in service to those who are food insecure, those who are low income, and those who have chronic diseases, as Dr. Chen mentioned. And the partnership with the East Bay Parks, a potential partnership if this moves forward, the acreage is absolutely crucial to make this work. The scope that the circular food economy can have if Dig Deep is at Ardenwood is just tremendous. And you can be part of what's clear to, from today's comments is something much bigger than just a farm. And we are very proud of that circular food economy and what we're building. The main thing I did want to mention is that the county is committed to this project. The county is funded All In Eats, the circular food economy, of which Dig Deep Farms is a part of, to the tune of $7.7 million over 4 years. And it's the increase every year. It's been more that's been invested. We've had over almost $2 million in one-time expenditures. We know that Tiffany did mention the issue of investing 1.2 million into this project. There is a track record of doing that. Some of it has been through general fund expenditures, healthcare expenditures, and some of it has been from Assembly Bill 109, which is for reentry individuals. And if there's projects related to that, we can fund out of those specific funds. So we are very confident that this thing will be successful. On behalf of my boss, Supervisor Chan, we certainly want to be partners of the Park District, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dave, and please also thank Supervisor Chan for her support and leadership in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more hands out there?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other public comments? We'll just call for that one more time, just to make sure we don't miss anybody.
Yes, Chair Corbett, I did receive 2 public comments submitted that I will go ahead and read at this time.
Thank you.
The first one comes from the Alameda County Board of Supervisors offices of Richard Valle and Wilma Chan. And it states, "Dear Operations Committee members, we are writing to enthusiastically express our support for the Dig Deep Farms proposal to lease the agricultural lands at Ardenwood Farms. We also want to thank the East Bay Regional Park District for considering DDF's proposal and recommending the organization as leasee to the historic farms. DDF is a program of the Deputy Sheriff's Activities League, a 501c3 nonprofit associated with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. DSAL and DDF have been an innovation lab working with county agencies and philanthropy to expand their food as medicine program for low-income families. The program also provides produce and prepared meal delivery for food insecure households. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, DDF continues to provide and preserve fair and equitable jobs and helps hundreds of low-income and vulnerable residents eat healthy foods while minimizing exposure to the virus. DDF is engaged with numerous organizations and stakeholders in local food systems and public institutions, such as Anchors in Resilient Communities, Healthcare Without Harm, Emerald Cities Collaborative, Alameda County Probation, District Attorney's Office, Public Defender's Office, and others. Their programs will work to strengthen the local food system, increase food security, and provide training and employment to disadvantaged residents throughout Alameda County by building local capacity to harvest, process, and distribute fresh and sustainable specialty crops. We are excited to support Dig Deep Farms and their efforts in expanding their operations in the South County. Under DDF stewardship, the land will be protected and preserved with the values of earth care, people care, and fair share. Dig Deep Farm uses traditional farming methods and applies years of a certified organic farming experience to work harmoniously with the land, minimizing waste and maximizing nutrient-rich soil and produce. DDF will enhance the circular food economy, provide fair and equitable jobs for justice-involved individuals, and make locally grown produce accessible to food insecure county residents while providing valuable urban farming education. DDF's proposal strategically aligns with Alameda County's vision and goals. It provides creative and local solutions to long-term challenges of food insecurity and employment opportunities for disadvantaged residents. We are encouraged to have East Bay Regional Park District join DDF partners such as La Familia Counseling Services, Daily Bowl, Bay Cities Produce, Alameda County Workforce Development Board, social services agencies, All In, amongst many others, in building a sustainable circular food economy. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank
and
you.
Then the last comment was submitted by Lucia Sayre, Director of Regional Innovation and Community Resilience. Dear EBPRD board members, as a representative of Anchors and Resilient Communities, a multi-stakeholder initiative in the East Bay, and on behalf of the organization Healthcare Without Harm, I am writing in wholehearted support of an East Bay Regional Park District's decision to approve Dig Deep Farms' agricultural land lease proposal to farm operate the 74-acre Ardenwood Historic Farm. We believe wholeheartedly that Dig Deep Farms can provide transformative educational opportunities while showcasing sustainable and equitable agriculture. Their work is a needed solution to the climate disruption, economic and social inequity that our community faces, and most importantly, represents a paradigm shift. Dig Deep Farm's mission and vision for Ardenwood Historic Farm is a shift from farm worker exploitation to equity, a shift from resource extraction to sustainability, and a shift from exclusion and racial prejudice to access and opportunity. DDF is the future of farming, a brighter future of farming. We at ARC believe that strong, equitable regional food systems can play a major role in building community health, wealth, and climate resilience. DDF are value partners in our work localizing the food procurement of East Bay anchor institutions such as universities, schools, and hospitals. We rely heavily on their infrastructure and programming that allows us to source produce from Black and brown farmers for anchors while creating jobs for our community members disenfranchised from employment opportunities. DDF are cherished partners to ARC because they deepen our impact within the community and make our outcomes more equitable and inclusive. In short, they make our work better. We encourage the board to approve Dig Deep Farm's proposal to lease and care for the land at Ardenwood Farm, and we commit to fully supporting their management of the farm through increased institutional contracting within our network of healthcare and educational anchor institutions. And that is it for the public comments submitted for this item.
Thank you very much, Recording Secretary. I think that this is a huge opportunity available to the Park District to pursue a great community partnership, but also to continue along the road towards many of our priorities and goals. But I'm going to stop before I ask questions and ask the other board members if they would like to ask any questions or make any comments. Director Wieskamp?
Well, Ardenwood is part of District 5, my ward, and I always think it's one of the nicest places in the world. And it's so great that it's reopening. Certainly the background from Dr. Chen was I'm a person that loves fresh organic, like asparagus and blueberries. And the thought of whether you can grow all of this there, I don't know, but I like the idea of it very much. I'm interested in the work opportunities. How do you go about finding your workers and training them? Is there a special way you do this? Because I think that's an important part of the program.
That's great. Hillary, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, I was leaning towards Sasha and
or Sasha,
Troy.
yeah, Sasha and Troy.
So the way we find our workers is we go out to different institutions as well as the community. We let folks know that we're hiring for specific positions, and then we also do an interview process. A lot of folks that are local and in the community sometimes don't have that experience or access to land. So they let us know ahead of time, and we're always willing to train and show folks how to do it. And so that's how we mainly find people. We also find special trains. So we'll go to like Chico or UC Santa Cruz, UC Berkeley, things like that to get in touch with the student body and some administrators of the programs to see if they have any students that are looking for work as well.
Okay, good. Do you feel they're going to be, I don't know how many of you have been to Ardenwood in the past since it's been basically closed for a year, but they bring a lot of classrooms in from all over our two counties. do you think there's going to be an opportunity for those students to have some direct contact and learn about what you're doing there? Whoever
Definitely.
wants to answer it.
Yeah, I think that's part of why the relationship with the Alameda County Office of Education is so important. And what we've already started with them with the, I believe it's mostly high school students. Sasha, Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be middle as well, but mostly high school students that have been coming already and doing the permaculture design internship program with Sasha and Troy and getting those certifications under their belt. And because the model has been successful over the course of the last year and a half, maybe, another cohort's getting ready to start up, I think, for the summer. They are very excited to have the chance to work with some of the high schools in the Fremont area and bring them into the same model of having the farm be an outdoor classroom experience where because Troy and Sasha can provide an actual legitimate certification in permaculture design and urban farming. So it's really a great thing to add to your resume as a young person, and start figuring out your next steps and your pathway into the rest of the food economy from there.
Well, I think it's all very exciting. They love growing popcorn there, Native American corn, actual wheat, and harvesting it, and in our parts of it. And I think this is going to fit very nicely with that. So I congratulate all of you. And it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I certainly think it's worthwhile. So thanks for making the offer to come in and take control of a lot of land.
Thank you, Director Wieskamp. Director Eccles.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited about this partnership. I just loved hearing everything you said. I mean, I think we can't really ask for more when you're talking about the intersections between public safety, health, regenerative farming, and economic development. It's all through an equity lens. I think it's fabulous and very excited, happy to support this project.
Thank you very much. I have a few questions and then some comments. Just looking at the, I don't think we had a contract before us, but one of my questions is, I guess this will go to you, Jim. With regard to irrigation and water, what are the rules and what's the partnership there? Because as you
I'm going to ask Tiffany.
need water to grow plants.
Yeah, I can
Lots
speak
of
to
water.
that. Yeah, so there is a well on site for this purpose, and the lessee pays for the electricity related to the well pump. And when we met on site a few weeks ago, the staff at Ardenwood was discussing with Troy and Sasha about how to maintain the well. It's apparently good functional water, does run a little bit salty from what I understand, and there's some farming methods to address that. So that's how that works.
Okay, great, thank you. And with regard to the continuation of organic farming, and it sounds like the practices that Dig Deep are very familiar with, do we have like a specific definition of organic? Because as you know, that can there's lots of different ideas of what organic means.
Yes, it's the certified organic farming, the certification program. What's the exact?
CCOF.
CCOF, yes. That's what we've had on the site, and that's what we'll continue.
Okay, good. So it's specifically defined. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay. And then could you also help me understand a little bit about the rent and the in-kind work and how that will could be able to address that and calculate that?
Yes. So this is, we will be working. So some of the next steps, if we move forward, will be to work with Dig Deep Farms on typical rates for positions. And then we would look at work and track the work that's done on an hourly basis. And We had a very similar setup with the Perrys. For example, the compost operation, they're big compost piles. One thing that we've been talking a lot about is it's a little hard to estimate how many hours per month a compost might need, because if it's wet or dry, it might need, different types of care. So we have a tracking system that tracks those hours at the agreed upon rates. And then every month, then we would reconcile that against the rent. Just for reference, in the last 10 years with the Perrys and the work that they were doing in kind, the net payment was actually from the district to the Perrys. They did enough in-kind work that offset their entire rent, plus they did more in-kind work that we actually paid them for, which was a great value because it's incredibly hard to find. There's no equivalent. You can't go out and find a contractor to do this type of work in the Bay Area for any kind of affordable rate. So what we anticipate is that the in-kind work will follow a bit of a curve and a ramp-up period. We want to support Dig Deep in getting their operation going. That has to be the focus for the initial years. With our supervising naturalist, Sonia Gomez, she's come up with a draft of minimum amounts of in-kind work per area. So minimum needs for compost, minimum needs for the interpretive crop. But we anticipate that the in-kind work will most likely be lower in the initial years to give Dig Deep Farm space to ramp up and get their operation going. And then as things evolve, we may be able to expand that. Does that help?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That sounds great. And it's nice to know that we're following the model that we used previously. So that sounds great. And you made me think about this when you were talking about the interpretive piece. Do we foresee the pumpkin patch coming back at some point?
So so Dig Deep Farms has expressed willingness to perform that function. So we're really excited about that. We need to look a little closer at the calendar if that's actually feasible for 2021, or maybe it's something that we do for 2022. But they're definitely open and willing to look at that. I know that's been a priority for us and a community priority.
Okay, and then I have one more question and a few comments. I was wondering, Sasha, if I could ask you a question. You work with high schools. Have you worked with any of the surrounding community colleges? Because I think that that's a great place to find young people who are interested as well.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for that question. I forgot to add that we have worked with Peralta colleges. So Laney, Merritt, Alameda, places like that.
Great. I think you may find some interested people in some of the community colleges in the more southerly and mid-county areas as well. I think there'll be some good opportunities there. And then I just wanted to suggest, I think, I'm sorry, I have to state that I'm talking about something I'm personally interested in. I think another opportunity would be the resource of the Alameda County Master Gardeners, who are UC trained, and there's plenty of them in the surrounding area. And I think that they might be another great resource for helping teach sustainable practices and work as volunteers with you as well. And I happen to be an Alameda County Master Gardener, so sorry for the personal plug, but I do know there's people there that would be interested in working with you as well. So I'll just add that. And then I just as a comment, as I mentioned earlier, this is a fabulous opportunity for community partnership for so many reasons. And I won't go on and on because we've heard all of those wonderful reasons. But I also want to say I've been so impressed at watching the growth of Dig Deep Farms over the years. And it's just such a great example of community building by our local deputy sheriffs. And that really should be highlighted, that it's a very successful program and, creates a great relationship and great opportunity. And it's wonderful everybody's working together under this model, for all of our local neighborhoods and communities to bring people together in this way. So it really is quite impressive, and a model that hopefully others can emulate around the country as well. So thank you for that, for your commitment. And that's all I have to say. Yes, AGM O'Connor.
Thank you, Chair Corbett. I just wanted to say a couple of things to Hillary, Troy, and Sasha. Thank you for hanging in there through the process. I know it was difficult, but we really needed to ensure that we had our needs, the district needs, met at the Ardenwood Farm. I think you've stepped up and you've got some new partners that'll help you ramp up to provide, the services that we need at Ardenwood. So I appreciate you hanging in there. I also think that just to reflect on some of the comments the board members have made, that I think that, Ardenwood has been a center of activity for the Fremont community for years and years. A lot of school children go through there and get their first, concepts of where food comes from, like you're focused on. And I think the program with Dig Deep is just going to enhance that community relationship. So I think this is really, really an opportunity to enhance what the role that Ardenwood plays in the Fremont community. So this is just a really great expansion and evolution of Ardenwood in terms of relationships. So thank you for hanging in there, and I'll pass it back to you, Chair Corbett.
Thank you very much, AGM O'Connor. I think a motion's in order. Moved by Director Wieskamp and seconded by Director Eccles. Please call the roll on the vote.
Director Eccles?
Aye.
Director Wieskamp?
Aye.
Chair Orbit?
Aye, that's a unanimous adoption. Thank you very much. And yes, you're all very welcome. And AGM O'Connor, will this move forward to the full board?
It will. We're looking
Okay,
at May 17th.
May 17th. Okay, everybody mark your calendars. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see you on May 17th. All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you
Thank you
so
all.
much.
Look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
Right. Next item on the agenda, item number 3, is a review of the Contra Loma food concession at Contra Loma Regional Park. AGM O'Connor, would you like to start?
Just, I think that I'm pretty excited about this RFP outcome also. I think it's always nice to have someone who's local who manages a concession for us. And I think that's what we have here in this new concessionaire at Contra Loma. So I'll pass it off to Tiffany and Renee.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon again. And Renee Patterson, Administrative Analyst, is going to present this item. So while she's sharing her screen, I'll give a brief introduction to it. And I'm giving the introduction since you all will humor me with a personal share. I included a picture of myself in the early 80s at Contra Loma here. This was, there I am. And it was prior to the swim lagoon. So this was the backyard of where I grew up, and you can see the dock out across the way. And I tried to find a picture with the same angle showing where the lagoon is today. So this snack bar, I always enjoyed if I got a treat from the snack bar, and my favorite treat was the pink popcorn in the rectangular box. So,
oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Tiffany, it is a great bathing beauty of the right age.
Thank you. So with that, I'll hand it over to Renee, who will present this item.
Thank you. Welcome, Renee.
Hello. As you can see, as Tiffany waves to us, that's the most adorable picture. I love it. This is the Contra Loma Regional Park Food Concession Request for Proposal Review. And I am Renee Patterson, Administrative Analyst. And while I did not take active part in this proposal process, I was, of course, working for Tiffany and helping her out. So as we do for all these RFP reviews, we'll look at the location. I'll give you a little bit of the background. We'll look at the timeline and the actual process of posting and going through the RFP process. we'll look at the concessionaire that the panel has chosen, and then go over the revenue from the proposed revenue, and then end it with the staff recommendation. So as you can see from this Park District map with the big red dot by the swim lagoon, that's where the concession building is located. It's actually part of the Contra Loma Park offices, and it's just outside the swim lagoon. As you know, Contra Loma is located in Antioch. The traditional hours of operation have been 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is from Easter to Memorial Day. They're open on the weekends only, although they will not be this year because usually the hours of operation coincide with the operation of the swim complex. And the swim complex will not be open until Memorial Weekend. So then Memorial Weekend through Labor Day, they'll be open 7 days a week. The concession itself is a small concession. It's not set up to create food. They have no oven or range. You can only reheat items by other means. And the previous concessionaire offered food such as hot dogs, nachos, chili sodas, slush drinks, other kinds of drinks, ice cream, candies, chips, and assorted picnic items such as charcoal, starter condiments, plates, and cups. So this is typical of the use at Contra Loma Swim Complex. They also service not just the swim complex, but assorted picnic areas throughout the park. The background for this particular RFP is that it was issued in response to notice that we received from the previous concessionaire. He gave, as directed on his agreement, a 1-year notice just before COVID. He didn't actually serve that last year because the concession was closed during 2020. The picture here is the setup as the previous concessionaire had it. Those items have been removed by park staff. So there is no longer a menu hanging above the service window or anything like that. The RFP timeline is as follows. It was a pretty quick process. We released the RFP on February 1st, and we completed the interviews on March 10th. So it went pretty well. We did the regular RFP process. As we state in all these reviews, we do the same thing over and over. The thing that we did different this time was that the Public Affairs Office listed a media as shown here in this slide on LinkedIn and Facebook. The site visit, we received 8 attendees from 4 different entities, and after the proposals were submitted, we interviewed 3 of the entities, with the Park District panel being consistent of Tiffany Margalisi from Business Services, Dania Stoneham with the unit manager, and then 1 park staff. This interview process was observed by myself and also Dave Sumner, who's the audit manager. So the panel chose Boondoggies LLC to bring to the board for a review. Boondoggies, I think what was most memorable in my observation of the interviews was Boondoggies, and specifically Vivian Treff, who was interviewed for Boondoggies. She's the owner. She's very, very, very enthusiastic. It was a pleasure to watch how enthusiastic she was. Part of her background is in the restaurant industry. She's got a lot of experience doing that, and she's had her own local business for 3 years, based out of the local area. most notable about her particular proposal was that it was clearly enthusiastic about this particular location. She's very enthusiastic about her service to the community. Her current business in the community is at the Sunset Park Athletic Complex, where she had a 2-year contract with the city of Brentwood. And in fact, she increased sales at that complex with improvement of the quality of the menu. This was most noticeable, I guess, in comments on her Facebook page. And even in COVID-19 in 2020, with restrictions and everything, they managed to increase their operations and by switching over their focus to the mobile food facilities. So they were able to remain in business and remain viable during that time. She is experienced in using Facebook and other social media areas, and they have a very adaptive business approach to responding to their customers' needs and wants. These pictures show her current line of business, which is the hot dog cart and also another mobile food trailer. So this is the proposed concession menu. It mainly features Casper hot dogs, which are apparently a big thing. They also will have nachos and a variety of candy. They'll still serve the soft ice cream, which that particular concession has served in the past, as well as specials sometimes of pulled pork sandwiches and hot links and things. The projected revenue will be sales of approximately $60,000, which will result in payment to the district of $1,800 for the concession fee and $4,200 for the concession maintenance fund. It will probably be lower in 2021 due to the shortened season for this year. So that leads us to the staff recommendation. Park District staff recommends that the Board Operations Committee approve and recommend to the full board the selection of Boondoggies LLC as the concessionaire of the Contra Loma food concession for an initial term of 2 years, with a possible additional 3-year term at the Park District's discretion. The Park District can expect up to $6,000 annually. This represents a 3% concession fee and a 7% concession maintenance fee. So now, if you have any questions, Tiffany Margalisi is here, as well as Dania Stoningham and Josh Carlson, the park supervisor of Contra Loma. Also here today is Vivian Treff from Boondoggies LLC.
Thank you very much, Renee, and welcome to all of those you just mentioned. Nice to have you all here. Hope everything's going well out at the park, even dealing with all of our closure, open, close, and now open opportunities. So I have a question, but I'll wait and see if, first of all, are there any public comments on this item?
No, but we do have Ms. Treff if we'd like her to say a brief hello. She is here for that, or she could also just wait if there's questions.
No, please. If you'd like to make a comment, please do. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. I hope my video and audio is available. I see heads nodding. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to speak, and we are super grateful for the opportunity to submit our proposal for this location. It seems like an excellent opportunity for us to learn and grow and serve our community in another area of the county. So we are really looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your interest. All right, Board members, questions, comments? Yes, Director Wieskamp.
I think it's great to have somebody local. They know the community. It's a contrast with the last item we discussed, but it seems like it's an appropriate type concession for this location. Not a question for the proponent, but is the pool in good order now?
Yeah.
All done?
Yeah, well, our plan is to fully open on Memorial Day. So as far as I know, everything's on target.
Okay, that's good. I just recommend lots of cold drinks and slushies and ice cream, but if she's local, she knows. It's just, I live in Livermore. We both know what heat brings on and getting in and out of the pool. So thanks for making the endeavor to come and service in this location.
Director Eccles, do you have any comments?
Sounds good to me, and I appreciate enthusiasm behind the proposal. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I was just wondering, in Renee's mention of using social media to advertise this contract, do we think that made a difference this time? Do we think we got more people finding out about us?
I personally do. I mean, I didn't expect to really get, I didn't know what to expect on this response. I had rather low expectations, just to be honest. And we had, I think, 5 different entities come to the site visit, all of who heard about it either from word of mouth, who someone else saw it, or other methods. So I was really excited and appreciative of public affairs helping us with that outreach, because obviously, the website has use, but it's limited, and the legal ads were required to do, but probably no one reads those. So I was really excited that the word got around, and we had really good competition and really strong proposals. I think Boondoggies was the strongest, but it was so nice for the interview panel to have the choice as well of different providers.
Yeah, so that sounds like a good idea for the future as we advertise for vendor contracts in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Great experiment that worked. I just have one. Oh, sorry, Jim, I see your hand up. Can I ask a quick question then, Colin?
I can go after you. Chair
Okay,
Corbett, go ahead.
just a quick question. As you know, it has come up from time to time at board meetings, a question about things like packaging and things like that when we have concessionaires. Was there any conversation about that? And I see Tiffany shaking her head yes. So could you just let us know whether there was any conversation about that sort of thing?
Yes, definitely. We are very interested in promoting low waste and recyclable items as well as compostable items, and Vivian is very open to that as well. Some of the ideas that she shared with us is just really first starting off by having less packaging. So she has some really good, just, very simple serving approaches, like serving in a napkin instead of like a big thing. We've already been speaking to our recycling coordinator to see if it's possible to implement 3-stream waste there so that we could have compostable recycling and trash. So we're looking at the feasibility of that, because that's not at this location yet. But that's something that we take into account. It is in the all our concessionaire contracts to use recyclable materials as much as feasible. And then we also have some provisions for some of the very micro litter types of waste that we don't allow, just to help make sure things go in the appropriate trash can.
Great, thank you very much. That sounds encouraging. Thank you. And thank you, Vivian, for your interest in that too. AGM O'Connor.
I just had a really simple question for Vivian. What is a Casper dog? I have no idea.
You don't know what a Casper dog is?
I do not.
Invite him out for a tasting.
Maybe he's too young to know
Well,
what a that it?
I could tell you, but really, you know, you're going to hear it from everybody. The Casper dog is a hot dog. It's made from pork and beef, and it's in a lamb casing, which kind of makes it crunch or snap when you bite into it. And that's really what made it famous in our area. And from Dublin to Castro Valley to Pleasant Hill to Concord, all of those areas, everybody that's grew up around this area, for me, that's my grandma, is familiar with Casper hot dogs, and they love them. So it's one of the best hot dogs you can get as far as I know. So I look forward to serving you one so you can try it for yourself.
Well, I live with a vegan, so I'll have to go venture out and find one. Yeah. Thank you.
You have to sneak it?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Anything else before we go to a vote? Nope. Okay. Can the secretary please call the roll on a vote?
Director Eccles?
Aye.
Director Wieskamp?
Aye.
Chair Corbett?
Aye.
So moved.
Unanimous. Will this also go to the board next?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Vivian, we'll see you again in a few more weeks. Thank you very much for your interest.
Thank you.
Thank
Bring
you.
that Casper dog to show.
Yes, we'll be out to visit for our Casper dogs. All right. Thank you so much. So the next item, item 4, is the residence program update. And this is an informational item. Hello again, Tiffany.
Hello. Great. Jim, do you want to say anything to lead
Oh,
this
sorry,
one off?
Jim.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
I'm just passing it right.
All right. So this is, we're on the home stretch, and I'm going to share the screen. And do you see the notes slide or the full screen?
That's fine.
Notes.
We got
There
the
we
notes
go.
slide.
Okay, thanks for your patience with that. So this is a fairly brief informational update. It's building upon the information, the update I gave to the full board in December on the results of the ad hoc residence committee, on the residence program that consisted of Director Wieskamp and Director Rosario. And we gave a report out to the full board and have been slowly but surely building upon that. So I just had a few items to share of how we're doing with those recommendations. So I'll just give a little brief, small project we've done to have a SharePoint site, talk about some of the resident replacements in progress, and Jeff Rasmussen is here to help answer questions. And then the bulk of the presentation is a bit of a case study, an update on the conversion of the former Roddy House to a security residence. Before I move on to those, I will just say that the ad hoc committee did direct us to work on a duplex conversion study to look at the feasibility of converting a residence potentially to a duplex. That is in progress, but we'll be bringing that back at another time once we've done some more work on that study. So this is just a little brief thing I wanted to share and just highlight staff work, especially our administrative analyst, Noah Dort. SharePoint is the intranet that we're slowly adopting at the Park District. It doesn't require being on the district network, so it's more accessible to field staff. It's replacing the thing known as the P drive. So it's for internal only. But we do want to always strive to make these residences known as much as possible to all staff, especially field staff who sometimes have connectivity challenges. So we've moved our information from our P drive to this SharePoint site. So now it can be accessed anywhere with an internet connection. We can post open houses, we can post the announcements. And this is something that Noah has undertaken just since the start of the year. So I wanted to just say thanks to him and give a shout out. We'll be adding to it as we go so that we'll have frequently asked questions and maybe some more resources that are appropriate for staff. We did just post this residence for the first time, Las Trampas Valley Hill. We had 10 applicants for this residence, and did make a selection earlier this week. And as we talked about with the ad hoc committee, the residence program does allow for roommates to have 2 district employees sharing, and that is actually what we selected for the occupants of this residence. So that was kind of cool. Then I'll just give a brief update on all the various replacements that are in progress. Jeff Rasmussen is working hard on all of these. Going from left to right, we have the Camp Arroyo Director's House. This is what it looks like as of, I think, about 10 days ago, and may be completed as early as this month or possibly early June. So that's great. Then we'll be moving on to the Vasco Caretakers Residence. The board just awarded that, approved that contract at the last board meeting. And then we're also working on Black Diamond Arata residence, as well as the Camp Arroyo staff housing. And what's great about all of these replacements is they're following a standard plan set, somewhat with the exception of the Camp Arroyo staff housing, which is a congregate housing of 6 bedrooms. But otherwise, we now have a standard replacement that we can use as a template in rolling these out, rolling these projects out. Another initiative of the recommendation of the ad hoc committee was to do the Anthony Chabot campground residence. There has not been a residence there in quite a number of years, so it's in essence it will be a new residence, but the plans are in progress on that one. The permit set is complete, and we're working on design permitting in 2021 and construction in 2022. So I'll just pause on those replacements for a moment and just see if there's any questions on the replacements, and we can have Jeff answer those.
Any questions, anyone?
Nope. Okay.
Okay, don't see any.
Okay, so then we're moving on to talk about the former Roddy House and the conversion to employee security residence. This is where it is on Chadbourne Road. It's part of the future, or part of the Deer Valley Park, and it's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath. And I think the eye opener on this for me is the house is in good condition. It was occupied until recently. And even with that, there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done to make it ready for an employee residence. So the history on this one is back in October 2017, the Park District acquired the property, and Jack and Donna Roddy, who were the prior landowners, leased back the residence. So they stayed there until June 2020. They left the state, they moved out. And then shortly after that, in August, staff began the conversion process to an employee residence. And Mast staff has been out there working on various code compliance issues. Again, it's a really good, good condition house, but just the level that we need to bring it to comfortably have staff in there requires some work. This is just one example down below. There was a spark arrestor installation that needed to happen on the chimney. So nothing huge, but all together, as our superintendent of Mast reminded me, it's no single item was big, but all together it adds up. So one thing that's still in progress that we want to update the board on is the question of the swimming pool. And this is the pool as it looks today. We have not been maintaining the swimming pool with chemicals. So you can see it's getting a little bit green. And we've reviewed a variety of options of what to do with the pool. And so I want to run through those and just share with you what staff is thinking on this matter. This upper picture here is the actual pool at the Roddy's with the pool cover on it. The below is just a stock photo. But the pool, the first option we said is, could we just lease this as is and do nothing? And really, no, we cannot. The pool cover doesn't meet the safety codes. The Contra Costa County has a swimming pool and spa safety act. So just alone, the cover doesn't meet code. So we wouldn't be able to just lease it as it is today. So another option we looked at is, well, what if we're not, sure what we want to do? Could we empty it and fence it or cover it and then decide later? So that option as well requires that you would install a sump pump to prevent groundwater draining in and water accumulating. There's still mosquito concerns even with an empty pool. And I did not know this, but I learned that there's a risk that the pool can pop out and damage the pool and surrounding flatwork depending on the level of the water table. So it has the potential to damage the pool and damage the patio. So generally what I learned is that pools are not meant to be empty, they're meant to be full. And having an empty pool would really just take up a lot of space for the resident. And then we still have costs because we still would need to be installing a sump pump and operating it, and we'd be still using electricity and having ongoing costs with that. So we don't recommend either one of those options. We had one more option that we are also not recommending, and that would be to complete the required safety upgrades. So here's a picture of what would be required by code, some kind of self-closing gate. There's also electrical code upgrades that would need to be done to the pool cover. And then there's also code and legislation about the anti-entrapment section, which would need to be evaluated and possibly that upgraded. So our concern with doing this, first of all, is that the pool isn't part of the long-term plan for the site. So the long-term plan for this site is that we would have a future visitor center there highlighting Western cultural history. So seeing that we don't have a long-term plan to utilize this pool, doing this type of upgrade has a lot of one-time costs associated with it. There's energy and water associated with having a pool. And then I'm very concerned about the liability and talking to risk and legal about the liability of having an employee security residence with a pool. So, what staff would like to proceed with, and we just wanted to make the committee aware of it and be transparent about this discussion, is that we do recommend going ahead and demolishing the pool and converting it to patio space. And so it eliminates that liability, it eliminates the water and energy consumption. And then it also takes away the complication of trying to find a resident who would be willing to take on all those costs and responsibility. And it would be potentially compatible with the future visitor center use because it does extend the patio space. You have a more usable space, whether it's for the resident or for the for the future visitor center. So Jim, did you want to add anything to any of those, add any context or additional points on that?
Well, I can tell you in my career in parks, I've probably 4 or 5 residences where we've done this very thing, demolish the pool and backfill it. Mostly because of the liability issues around this. So in my career, I've done this several times. And most residents don't want to take on this responsibility and the costs that go along with it. So, but I think in the long run, we can convert this and potentially put a cover over this patio space and make it usable. And that'll also be compatible with the long-term vision for this to become a future visitor center at some point in the future. So that's basically our reasons for moving this forward and getting your input on this.
Yeah. And I'll say one more thing. Jim reminded me by saying he's done it at other park agencies. I guess it has also been our practice here at the district. There was another residence, was it Brushy Peak?
Yeah, I believe it was Brushy Peak.
It was Brushy Peak where we, it also had a pool, and we did a very similar process where we demolished the pool so that we could move forward with it as a security residence. So that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Tiffany. Board members, would you like to weigh in? Director Eccles?
Sure. The recommendation makes sense to me. You know, if the pool is not in line with the long-term plans for the building, I don't know why you would go to all that work to maintain and restore and take on the liability and risk. So yeah, seems pretty straightforward to me. As much as I hate to fill in a pool, it makes sense.
Director Wieskamp?
It happens. I have a friend in Livermore who just bought a house with a pool, and they're going to be adding additional fencing for protection and solar heat for the pool. There are a lot of people who do, in these kind of climates, appreciate it. But this is the park district, and I understand the liability. But if you think I think this is going to become an open building for quite a while, I don't. But I do think if you fill it, then you have got to make sure that you cover it properly so that it is an amenity. It's a hot place, so let's make sure if there's not shade, we don't really fill it. It's a nice level patio and there's some cover, because I think it should be something that works for that area. But I'll agree with destroying the pool.
I agree with the staff concerns and recommendation as well. It's
Sure.
very, we have to be practical, even though it does look like a lovely place for a swim on a nice warm afternoon.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I know Tiffany feels that way, having seen that earlier picture. She likes water.
Yes, I do like, and yes, I agree with the sentiments. I think as we've looked at it, especially some of the earlier pictures when the pool was still maintained and growing up in Antioch, I can definitely relate to the enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
I think from a business, wearing my business services manager hat and in the residence program, I think this is the way to go. So I appreciate that.
You know what was really great about that picture of Tiffany, don't you, is the fact that she was raising her hand, and Tiffany always raises her hand for the tough assignments.
There you go.
It started early, apparently.
I thought it was to get ready to eat pink popcorn.
We'll have to find some of that pink popcorn in the I haven't seen it in a while, but they used to have it at the Oakland Zoo too.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen pink popcorn. Okay.
Probably banned in California.
Yeah, it probably has nuclear properties or something. All right. Let's see, any public comments?
We do have one, Mr. Steve Harker, who's been patiently waiting. And I'm just admitting him now.
But wait a minute, Ruby, just to clarify, Director Corbett, you're talking about comments related to this item on the agenda?
Oh,
correct?
I apologize.
Or are you talking about general public comments?
I was actually moving to general public comments because this was an information measure, and I think we're done. Did you have any more on it?
No, I just want to make sure we're moving on to the next item. So thank you.
Yes. Number 5, public comments. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Harker, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and I will start your clock now. Is that okay?
Yes, just getting organized here.
Okay, perfect. I'm starting the clock now.
All right. My name is Steve Harker, and I serve as the CEO of Touchstone Golf. As you may know, Touchstone Golf operates Redwood Canyon Golf Course for the East Bay Regional Park District. And I wanted to share a few exciting developments. First, Redwood Canyon Golf Course has achieved the designation of Certified Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Golf Course through the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program for golf courses. Redwood Canyon is only one of approximately 900 courses in the world to receive this certification. And in order to receive this designation, we accomplished environmental planning, wildlife and habitat management, outreach and education, water conservation, and water quality management. We also adhered to the East Bay Regional Park District's integrated pest management program and guidance. Whenever we have a question or an issue, the East Bay Regional Park District team is there to help make sure that we're doing the right thing. This was the case recently regarding the control of the aquatic weeds in our irrigation lake. Second, with the support of East Bay Regional Park District staff, we've been able to replace 7 holes of the irrigation system, which is now over 60 years old. As a result, the golfers are enjoying much improved playing conditions, and the system is more efficient, which saves water. The older sections of the irrigation system are literally held together with bubble gum and baling wire, or at least that's how it feels. We will complete 2 more holes in June, leaving only the back 9 to be completed. Third, I just wanted to make you aware of some upcoming community events. First, our Tees for Bees event will be held next Sunday, May 2nd from 1 to 3 p.m. I've attached the flyer for your information. Also, this year we're introducing a music series, first Thursdays. Additional information is forthcoming regarding the music artists and activities for each event. This flyer is also attached. Thank you for allowing me to share this update.
Thank you, Mr. Harker. Thanks for all of that great news, and especially congratulations on the Audubon designation. That truly is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're very proud of it, and it was at the urging of park staff, and now that we've gotten through it, we couldn't be happier about it, and we're going to continue that focus moving forward.
Thank you.
Nice enhancement.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. We appreciate our partnership with you. All right, any other public comments?
That concludes public comments.
Okay, board comments. Director Wieskamp?
I'm not sure whether it's here or where, but I've been getting calls and messages about the group that is working on trails. And I'm hoping we can get some interim reports. There seems to be a lot of interest from various groups, particularly those who are mountain bikers, but they don't want to. Some of them seem to have a very positive attitude about having the right stuff for themselves and not interfering with those who want something different. So it seems to me it's time for us to hear how that group is coming along with having these discussions. I don't know whether it should come back here or where. What do you think, Chair Corbett?
Oh.
Or Jim? Well, we, of course, if you're asking the committee chair, I would always say, oh, yes, of course, let's have it come back to the committee. But I think we'll ask our AGM to check in with the staff who's putting in many hours on this important assignment and figure out what's the best way to get the information to us. Because you're right, Director Wieskamp, we've all been seeing some emails recently from some people who seem to be very interested in working in partnership with others, and some others who think maybe not so much. So pardon me for saying that, but
let's see where we're headed.
There's various points of view on the sharing of trails. And so yes, it might be a good time to check in and see how the information gets shared with the board, either at the committee or the full board. Either way would be good.
Fine.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I will check in with AGM Kelchner and see where the group is at in terms of their process, and see where it might be appropriate, whether it's this committee or executive committee. But I'll check in with her and get back to all of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Director Eccles?
Oh, nothing further. Thanks.
Thank you. I would just add to AGM O'Connor, some of us have recently received an email too with regard to our new partnership at the stables. And you've probably seen that too, so might be good to get a report back on what's going on with that as well. Have you seen that?
I'll check in with Tiffany after the meeting and see if she's received that. And this is in regards to Anthony Chabot Stables?
It's our newest partnership. I think it's Anthony Chabot. Is it Anthony Chabot where we just recently?
Yeah, Anthony Chabot and Lost Trump has just recently turned over, so.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's that. And have either of you received an email on that? If not,
not recently that I've seen, but if you want to pass it on to us, we'd be glad to look at it.
I forwarded it to the GM very recently, like I think last night.
Okay.
So it'll probably be coming your way, I'm sure. And
Okay.
I'll also forward it to you, Jim.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And I really have nothing else either, except for thanks for another wonderful meeting and lots of great stuff going on. And AGM comments? Oops, sorry.
Just, I guess the only comment I have is that staff are, working to get things reoperated under orange tier, and everything seems to be on track. Information I've shared with the group before. So, and the big one, of course, is reoperating our swim areas come Memorial Day. We're still having challenges with blue-green algae. At Shadow Cliffs, we were unable to fill the reservoir this winter because of the low levels in the arroyo. We're also challenged, of course, our irrigation system is fed from the lake. So Steve and Robert are working to come up with a solution to that problem. So we still got Quarry, Lake Anza, and Del Val also are still having blue-green algae problems. We're hoping we're going to at least resolve Del Val by the time we start swim season on Memorial Day weekend. So other than that, we're still hoping to get volunteers ramping up starting next week. So that's very exciting. I know a lot of members of the community are excited about that. We've got the visitor centers open and we've increased the capacity. So staff have done a really wonderful job of getting parks reopened and back to it as normal as we can. So that's the good news.
And Jim, I also noticed that an email that reservations hours are increasing. So
yes.
Thank you for that. Tell everybody thank you for that as well as we ramp up.
Absolutely. I'll pass that on.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I've got.
Okay. And if there's nothing else, we're adjourned.
Okay. Thank you very much.
See you all.